have a quorum. I'm going to call to order the Board of Finance at 5:03 p.m. And first item on the agenda is a motion to adopt the agenda.
As soon as I get there.
Okay, great.
Just a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Second.
Usually the one that's pushing you to get going, so. I'm happy to make a motion to adopt.
Great, thank you. For a second.
I'll second.
Second by Councilor Barlow. Discussion of the agenda. Seeing none, we'll go to vote. All those in favor of adopting the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Others, we have an agenda. Brings us to the public forum. Is there any member of the public who would like to speak to the Board of Finance, preferably about the agenda tonight, which is just the acceptance and approval of the FY23 audit? Go ahead, Sylvia.
I'm not going to take a lot of your time. I know you want to, but I did want to thank you for reading my extensive document with my concerns about the missing recommendation number 2. And so I was hoping that at this meeting, when you have your deliberations, that actually CAO Shad is going to actually summarize what she explained about that you've rebuilt the organizational sets and centralized the grant management for CEDO, which means that item left. So that's really, I'm here to hear that. That will be great. And also, this is a separate thing that I'm going to just provide with you. I'm concerned about the growth of the general obligation debt. And so I've actually created a document that I wanted to share, and I've been trying to follow up with Councilor Shannon about it. So I'll just share with you that in the last 10 years, we've had an increase of 372% in the actual per resident cost of the amount of debt, from $1,500 in 2010. That's the amount of general obligation debt we had. And now with the school bond, it's probably like 72,000 per resident of the 44,000 people that live in this city. So that's just my concern, and I'm trying to make sure that my numbers are all correct before I actually distribute that worldwide. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So you might.
I don't expect an answer right now.
There's quite a bit of analysis and policy around our general obligation debt. You might want.
Well, yeah, I think
look at
Councilor Shannon, but I haven't gotten an answer back yet, so I'm still waiting.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, with that, is there anyone online who is interested in speaking to the Board of Finance in the public forum?
I do not see anyone with their hands raised, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. So we'll close the public forum then, and that brings us to the deliberative agenda, which is one item. It's the item we first talked about last week, the acceptance and approval of the FY23 audit. Would you like to give any updates, Catherine, before we go to the board?
I will give one update based on the question that we received from Solveig. And as she mentioned, I sent an email replying to her, but for people who are listening, she had asked last week about the FY22 management letter recommendation, improve CEDO capital project accounting. And our auditor, who's joining us tonight, Alina, had let us know that that was not listed as a recommendation in the FY23 letter because it was resolved. And I gave a few more details in the email, letting everyone know that we worked with consulting firm CLA, and we rebuilt the organizational sets in CLA, and really have worked to centralize our grants management. One of the things we have also done to improve is that all of the grants that are received by the city come to the Board of Finance for acceptance. And so centralizing it in that way so that there is one place where all of these grants filter through helps us to be able to report on them more accurately. All of these grants that are federal money have to go into a form called the CFA, And that form had not always been 100% accurate, and that has been in FY23, we did much better with that. I assume that will also be the case in FY24, and that is why the recommendation did not appear. So while we do have 3 recommendations in this current management letter, and that is of course where we are focusing our energy, we do want to take some credit for that one that was resolved. So unless there are questions, which I don't think I received over email, I don't have any more prepared comments.
Thank you, Catherine. So I'll open it up now to discussion with the board. How the board like to proceed? Are we ready? Are there questions for the administration or our auditor or discussion? We're ready for the motion. President Paul, go ahead.
Thank you. So I'm happy to make a motion to waive the reading and adopt the resolution, and I believe it's on our deliberative agenda this evening. And after a second, I'd like the floor back.
Councilor Paul, if I may, I don't think the Board of Finance is adopting the resolution. I think it was a recommendation
Okay,
to,
well, there is a resolution.
yes, which will go before the City Council this evening.
Okay.
And so the Board of Finance is just moving to recommend that the City Council adopt that resolution.
I live and breathe the council.
I know.
And I never get to say this. But yes. So do I still get the floor back after the second?
Yes. We have a second from
Um,
Barlow. Back to you, President Paul.
Great, thanks. So I just wanted to mention a couple of two things. The first is that back in 2008, when I got elected to the city council, the audit management letter was about 45 pages long. Maybe more. I probably have lost track. It was essentially a cut and paste year after year after year. And if you went back even into the late 90s, you would see effectively the same management letter because things really were not moving forward. We've made great progress since then. I remember there was a time where department heads were not allowed to present their budget until they had addressed the items in the management letter. It was the only way, at the time, it was the only way I could think of to get people to pay attention to the management letter. We've come a long way since then. I will say that I do appreciate very much that Catherine, I very much appreciate that you heard what I said, and you adopted what I said into your response into item number 1. If it weren't for that, even though it's not the end of the world, I can't stress enough how important it is to have closing journal entries done on time. That is a big deal. And it is almost impossible to know where your budget is in actual if you haven't done closing journal entries. And I'm very happy to see that this will be going forward, not only the top priority, but I have every reason to believe that next year this will not be on the management letter. Is that right, Catherine?
Just looking for the unmute. That is absolutely right, President Paul.
Thank you. And in fact, there's no requirement in a management letter that items that are addressed are put into the next year's management letter. That is absolutely not at all necessary, nor personally have I ever seen that. So the fact that something has been resolved is not, and it's not repeated and it's not mentioned, is not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. That means that it's been resolved and you move on. And it is a misnomer to think that auditors are sitting here spending their time trying to find stuff to put in a management letter. Creates a lot of paperwork, and it's okay if there's nothing in the management letter, which we're getting pretty close to. And then and based on that, based on the response and based on the fact that you absolutely are working with a consultant, that's my reason for being able to vote yes. Otherwise, having seen this point in the management letter for about 5 years, I would really feel hard pressed to once again be able to support this. But knowing that you truly are making that this will be the last year because I wouldn't say controls, but I would just say the consultant has been put in place. I do believe that this will be taken care of. And I just want to add that, I understand everybody's concern about the audit. I'm thrilled that there are people who care about the audit. When I was first elected, I don't think anybody cared about the audit, but they do now. And I think that's great. I would just simply respectfully ask that if people have concerns about the audit, that they also keep in mind that the way that they deliver that message does matter. And there are hardworking, very hardworking people in the city, not the least of which is the CAO, who spends an enormous amount of time on this effort. And I think it's important to remember that it does matter what you say. And when you say things like, well, you say you did something, that's inferring and sort of impugning someone's integrity. And I know that that is not the case with Catherine. So I just wanted to put that out there. Under tremendous duress with a lack of a person working in your department, you have done an amazing amount of work. And I just want you to know that I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Paul.
Thank you, President Paul, for your long
Sorry.
attention to these issues. For your comments to strengthen the city's response to the management letter and really document what you just described, the commitment to address the journal entry issue in the coming days. So thank you for that. Any other discussion? Great. We have a motion in a second. I don't have much to add. I guess just I would want to echo my thanks to Catherine and the whole clerk treasurer team that worked very hard to finish the documentation for tonight and to work with Alina and her team and get this document done. So with that, I think we're ready for a vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And thank you to the Board of Finance for the special meeting. And guess with that, if there's no objection, we have completed the business and we can adjourn at 5:16 and have a few extra minutes to get upstairs.
Is Catherine still on? Catherine, are you still
Yes,
on?
yes.
Catherine, so I'm going to go upstairs. Are you the only